Hello, and welcome back to the EDC Squirrel. Been a little while since my last video, and I've got a special one today because I've got my third monthly Knife Club package just in time for the end of July. And we were going to be unboxing that right away because I have been waiting to see what was coming next. And I have the patience of a donut. But I've been waiting for this ever since my last two. I've been pretty impressed with what I've been getting from Monthly Knife Club, and I've been continuing with it and eagerly anticipating what comes next. So far, I've been enjoying it, and it's finally here. So, again, this is from Monthly Knife Club. It's one of those subscription-based services where you pay a monthly fee, and they have several tiers, and on each month they send you a new knife. In this case, I'm part of their I can't remember the name of the tier, actually, now that I think about it. Their tier 2. It's $55 a month. They're tier 2 name brand knives. They have a starter, they have a standard, a tier 2, which I'm a part of, and an Onyx, which is their most expensive at $119 a month. Their lowest is the starter at $25 a month. And like I said, they have other plans for like fixed blades and other EDC equipment. But they charge at the beginning of the month, and then they ship out roughly around the middle of the month. And I finally just received mine actually this morning. So let's open this up and see what we've got. We've got, oh, okay. This one's a small one. They always include a card with every knife. I'll keep that box over to the side. And this, let me see here. Just realized I have my screens all wackadoodle. Okay, that's a little better. I can see a little better. It is a Best Tech knife. Simply the best. BestTechKnives.com. This is a Beehigh? Beehigh? And I'm seeing a 14C 28N gray plus satin. I just realized, give me a minute. I just realized I forgot to clean my lens. So, well, at least you guys see I'm doing this live. Well, not live, but you know what I mean. Okay. Close your eyes. I'm going to clean this lens real quick. There we go. That should be a lot better. Okay, where were we at? So, we got something from Best Tech. Again, it's a Beehigh 14C28N gray plus satin. According to this, okay, this one, the Best Tech Beehigh or Beehigh BG53D-2 is a compact and uniquely styled folding knife designed by Ostap Hell. I've actually got a few knives from that designer. Ideal for utility tasks and everyday carry, it features a 2.15-inch hawkbill blade. Ooh. Made from 14C28 and stainless steel, finished in a two-tone satin and gray DLC stonewash for added durability and visual appeal. The blue G10 handle offers a secure grip and lightweight feel, while the front flipper opener paired with ceramic ball bearings ensure smooth, rapid deployment. A liner lock mechanism provides reliable blade security, and the tip-up steel pocket clip allows for convenient right-hand carry. With its ergonomic design and efficient blade shape, the Beehigh, again, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, is a standard tool for precision cutting and daily use. So we've also got specs here. I do love that they do this. Weight is 1.76 ounces, blade length 2.15 inches, overall length 5.24 inches. Again, 14C28N steel, handle material is G10, hawkbill blade, liner lock, stonewash finish on the blade, tip-up carry, and ceramic ball bearings. And they even give you a total cost. My cost is $55 plus shipping and handling. Total value, the retail value for these knives is supposed to be between $63 and $75. So let's take a look and see what I have. I wasn't actually prepared for such a small knife. Simply the best. We got, looks like a Best Tech introduction. maintenance, and before storing it. Actually, I just noticed, give a little oil in the pivot area and also rub the blade with a little oil. Always do that, especially with a brand new knife. A lot of times, some manufacturers will oil the pivot area and the blade already, or I like to oil the pivot area and wax the blade. So with every new knife that I get, in fact, I've got my wax and oil all ready to go. Let's take a look at this knife. This is a tiny one. Oh, it's a nestled liner lock. We've got a thumb hole, and it looks like a front flipper or a top flipper for deploying. Can I do this over the top? Yes, I can. Ooh, that is an interesting looking blade. They did say it's a hawkbill. We got some jimping here. Again, 14C28N. I probably said that enough times. We got a pocket clip that doesn't appear to be reversible. And we have about a good third of the way up back liner. And that was pretty smooth. They did say it came with ceramic ball bearings. You can see that the liner lock is nestled. And that hawk bill, see if I can get it to focus, looks pretty cool. We've got some etching on the blade. We've got Ostap Hell. I hope I'm pronouncing the name right. Ostap Hell design. And towards the pivot, you can see where it says 14C28N. On the other side, that is left bare. And they do have kind of like a two-tone. They did say two-tone, I think. Yeah, satin and gray. And they say DLC, so I'm assuming the gray portion is a DLC coating on it. I don't know if they did the whole thing in DLC. I'm just assuming it's going to be the gray portion. That's pretty neat. And a very generous finger choil to get a good amount of grip. Actually, with that finger choil there, I can get a full gorilla grip on this knife. If it wasn't, if I move back a little bit, I got my pinky free. I still get a good grip on it. I still feel like I got pretty good control over the knife. I love the feel of the back here because it's got it flattens out a little bit, as you can see. So it's pretty comfortable, even if I'm a little farther back. But up against and into that finger choil, they've got some jimping not only towards the back here, but further towards the tip. And I could see that allowing for a great deal of precise control when using this to cut. And the hawkbill profile is a very useful profile when it comes to utility, I think. Especially when like opening packages, cutting cardboard, and other basic like draw cutting type tasks, because the shape, the curvature of that blade kind of helps keep the knife or the blade from kind of like wanting to slip away from what you're cutting. It almost helps keep it in place as you're doing a draw cut, which I really, really like. Also, a lot of people like it for pruning and things like that. And it might not be the most pronounced hawkbill, but I could see this being very, very useful and very light. The G10 scales have a nice, good grip. I really like that blue color. You got a little bit of, it appears to be like a brass accent around the pivot. And while it's not like super aggressive, you got a good amount of grip on that G10, and it has a nice, like almost ribbed shape here. Again, making it very comfortable to hold. I do feel that pocket clip a bit behind the knuckle. It's not causing me any discomfort. I can see if I were to be doing a lot of extended cutting, with this knife that it could start to get pretty hot there. But otherwise, not bad at all. I'm actually quite surprised with this one. This one feels pretty good. Now, um, it's not the most neutral of grips, but again, I can see this being really considered just strict utility. And for that use as a utility blade, that feels really good. And I do feel like I got a really good amount of control, again, for that draw cut, simply because of that large and generous finger choil up in front. Now, pretty positive lockup. Let's close this again. I have some spray bandage. You play around with the knives enough times and you're going to end up cutting yourself. I use a lot of spray bandages, so my thumb's a little sticky. Let's see, on the reverse flick. Okay, it's a little hard with a reverse flick. Oh, there we go. Pretty good detent. I don't know if I can get that from the front. Nope. Again, it's a little weird because I've got a spray bandage there. There we go. I just have to make sure I get my thumb really into that thumb hole. The shape, because of the size of this blade, it's a little bit getting used to. There we go. Yeah, I can see myself needing a little bit of practice with that. But otherwise, actually, while this is open, let me flick that out one more time. Let me try this. Try it this way. It's I'd like to say it's a front flip. It's almost more of a top flip. Yeah, pretty easy that way. In fact, I'll probably utilize that flipper tab more than the thumb hole. Now that I've got it open, though, let me grab a cloth real quick. Wipe my fingerprints off, and then let's see that blade. Yeah, the blade is really nicely locked. I'm not feeling any movement, not side to side, not up or down. Looking at the liner lock, I can see that it's looks like it's a pretty positive engagement. I know, especially with liner locks, it feels like a lot of times you need to work the knife a little while, and that liner lock will really start to settle in the more the knife is opened or flicked open. Kind of like a small or short break-in period. But otherwise, that looks like a pretty positive lock in there. Yeah, but I've noticed that with a few liner lock knives that they seem to benefit from a little bit of break-in, a little bit of playtime, I guess, with just flicking the knife open repeatedly. And front flippers, in this case a top flipper, uh, tend to be very fidgety knives, especially for me. And I like this because this is the easiest thing, or this is the easiest I think I've had in regards to flipping a knife from over the top. That's really, really easy. In fact, easier than doing what I'd normally do with drawing my thumb over and around. I actually really, really like that. And you almost can't beat the sound of a good liner lock. That's a really positive sound. Now, with the knife closed, let's take a close look at that. We can see that the blade is perfectly centered. When closed, it doesn't get anywhere near the back liner. So that is always nice to see. Now, like I said, it feels pretty smooth, but I'm going to do what they recommend and what I normally do anyway. And I'm going to add a little bit of KPL, knife pivot oil, to the pivot. And I'll just add a drop on either side and let that wick in. And I always do that because it helps prevent, it especially helps prevent wear. And a lot of times when rust starts appearing on a knife that's been neglected, a lot of times it's going to start appearing around the pivot area, because if moisture is going to get trapped in anywhere on a knife, it's going to be in the pivot area. So I always make sure to have a little bit of pivot oil in there, whether it's KPL or another oil, just to make sure it doesn't get any water sitting in there for prolonged periods of time. So I'm just going to wipe off the excess. And let's see how this feels now. We'll work it around a little bit. Whoa! Woohoo! Huh. That did not land on me. That held up. No damage on the knife, thankfully. No damage on me either, thankfully. I'll have to remember to get a much better grip on that knife when I'm top flipping it. But otherwise, there we go. Get a much better grip on that handle. Otherwise, it feels pretty, it continues to feel really smooth, if not maybe a little smoother. That detent on the close is decently strong, so I don't feel any worry about this blade ever coming out on its own. Let's see if that made the reverse flick any easier. Oh, either I'm getting used to that, or it made the reverse flick even a little bit easier. Now, the liner lock itself, I don't know if it's because I have a spray bandage. Oh, and I cracked my nail too. I don't know if it's because I have a spray bandage on my thumb, but the liner lock, let me see here. There's a generous enough cutout on the scale to be able to get your thumb and press and disengage the liner lock. It is small, and because I have spray bandage on, the feeling's a little weird. So I find I'm using my nail to disengage the liner lock a little bit. I know with a lot of Civivis, you don't get as much of a cutout, and I'm almost always having to use my nail to disengage that liner lock. This one, I feel like I should be able to disengage it with my thumb, but I'm still feeling like I'm needing to use my nail more. That may change once my thumb heals a little better and I can get a little bit more feeling back from that bandage. But otherwise, that nestled liner lock feels really good, and it's not overly difficult to disengage. So I don't have to. The one nice thing is I don't have to worry about accidentally disengaging a lock. Not that I don't think I've ever accidentally disengaged a liner lock. But that feels pretty good. And again, nice, smooth action. And not exactly a deep carry pocket clip. As you can see, you're going to have a decent amount of the knife poking through the pocket. In fact, I used to have, there we are. You'll have to excuse my squeaky chair. I'd cut out a pair of jeans some time ago just for demonstrations like this. And we can see exactly how that's going to look in a jean pocket. Now, it is tip-up carry. Typically, with tip-up carry knives on the right hand, the blade's going to press up against the back seam of that pocket. So there's never any worry of the blade like coming open and getting cut. I could possibly see it if you were to carry the blade forward in the pocket. But for me, that's kind of an awkward carrying position. Anytime I carry a knife, I prefer to carry it towards the back seam. And the back seam will help keep that blade closed, help prevent opening. And also, if you have anything else in your pocket, your fingers aren't anywhere near where that blade would be. So, in my opinion, it's a pretty safe way to carry a pocket knife. Now again, it's not a deep carry pocket clip. You can see there's about half an inch of the knife still sticking out of the pocket. Also, I did notice that the pocket clip has an abrupt upward swoop. Let me pull that out. Has an abrupt upward swoop and doesn't flatten out or curve back in any way. So I know sometimes I have a tendency to bump into things. I don't know. It's not a very large swoop, so I don't know if that's a concern about like bumping into things and hooking onto things. It doesn't feel exceptionally large, um, but that might be one thing to consider when you're carrying it in your pocket. Let's try this in the fifth pocket. I don't have a doubt that this will fit perfectly fine. There we go. And again, it's going to poke out of the pocket, but that fits perfectly in the watch pocket or fifth pocket of the jeans. And that's how it's going to end up probably looking in there. Now, one nice thing about a knife of this size is I live in a state where blade length is restricted, and it tends to vary from like town to town, village to village, city to city. Overall, I generally try to stay at about 3 inches or less for a knife blade. But in some cases, there are some cities that have even tighter restrictions, and the blade length restriction goes to about 2.5 inches or less. This one being, I believe it was like 2.15 inches. That makes this a very within the limits knife. So it shouldn't have any issue with carrying this knife, even in a lot of more restrictive areas, unless they just bar carrying knives completely. Excuse me. But a very handy size, a very utilitarian type of blade profile. I really, really like it. It's a very good feeling knife in the hand. And I could see using this quite a lot for box cutting, package opening, things like that. And with a 14C28N steel blade, excuse me, that's probably one of my favorite steels for knives at this price point. Very compact, very light. I'm pretty impressed. This is my first Best Tech knife, I believe. I don't believe I have another one. And this makes a pretty darn good introduction to this knife brand. I've heard a lot of good things about them. I believe I even unboxed one during my live unboxing, but there was a weird thing. It wasn't my package. It technically wasn't my knife, so I didn't linger on it for very long. I had to clear my throat. But as far as that knife is concerned, spoke to the seller, found out what happened, and that knife is back on its way to him and hopefully to the correct owner. So this is my true first experience with Best Tech, and it's quite an impressive one. Even though it's not a very big knife, it's still a very impressive little guy, and I really, really like it. I know I say this with a lot of knives, but when it comes to me collecting knives, there's a reason why a lot of my videos tend to be pretty positive, and that's because when I show you videos of knives, um, more often than not, like this is one of those few cases where it's not, but I'm purchasing a knife with my own money, and so I I try to be as informed as possible on a knife before I make a purchase. So I generally know what's coming in, and it's a knife that I feel I'm going to like anyway. I'm not in the business of trying to buy knives that I'm not going to like. Um, Although that has happened on very few occasions, or sometimes you might find out something about a knife that you thought you were going to like, and then something that you see when you finally get in your hand changes that viewpoint. But more often than not, when I'm buying a knife, because I'm spending my own hard-earned money, I'm doing research and looking into things like, is it the type of steel I want to get, or am I fine with that type of steel? Do I like that type of handle? Do I think I'm going to like that blade profile? And also, is it going to be? Do I feel it's going to be worth the cost for me? So that's why a lot of my videos tend to be pretty positive when I make them. This is one of the few exceptions where I don't know what's coming in, and so far, uh, Monthly Knife Club has impressed me with the selection that I've been getting from them. I've really enjoyed. Now I've only gotten 3 knives from them. Is it 3 or 4? Trying to remember now. At least 3 knives. I'm pretty sure this is my 3rd knife, maybe 4th. I can't remember. I'll have to look again. I'm pretty sure it's my 3rd one though. But I've been pretty impressed with the knives that I've gotten them so far, or gotten from them so far. And because of that, I am going to continue with my subscription and continue to let you guys know how things are as soon as I get a new knife from Monthly Knife Club. So this, I'm assuming this is what everybody gets that's a part of the monthly subscription, or at least for the same tier. I'm assuming this is what they get. So this would be the knife from Monthly Knife Club for July. I'm really impressed with it. I'm really impressed with Bestech. I've been looking at them before. I've really been wanting to acquire one at some point. I just haven't made a decision. There's a lot of knives I want to acquire, so I get distracted very easily. And even though I might have wanted a Bestech knife for a while, you know, something new catches my eye, and then I put another thing on my list, another thing on my list, so on and so forth. And it might take a while before I actually finally try a manufacturer. So I'm really glad for Monthly Knife Club and just literally tossing one at me. And I'm really impressed, and I'm eager to see what other offerings they have. I wanted to see how sharp this blade was. I almost saw how sharp this blade was without the magazine paper. The way that thing flew. Oh my god, and that sucker's got a point too. That could have been bad. So let's make sure we have a good grip, and let's see how this is on paper. Now, again, I've mentioned before, I love this particular shape for draw cutting, utilitarian, you know, like for opening packages, cutting cardboard, because the shape lends to that particular utility. And it almost helps keep your blade from slipping away. And a lot of times, even the media that you're cutting through, the blade shape will help keep it from pulling or pushing away. And it's doing just what I thought. Nice, sharp blade, all along that edge. A little loud, so I'm thinking the blade itself is really sharp. Now let's try draw cut without cutting my fingers. Like I said, that was a lot better, even quieter. Because I can't see the other side, I'm trying not to cut a finger. There we go. It was a little loud cutting this way, which I kind of expected it. Okay, that's a little better. Okay, now I'm just tearing into it because I've got little tears in there already. Let me get another sheet. It did seem a little loud. I wonder if I could fine-tune the edge a little bit, but I'm beginning to think that that might not even really be that necessary. Oops. That's pretty sharp. I think I might take it. The only thing with hawkbills that I get a little concerned, I do love the hawkbill profile. Like I said, I've got a number of hawkbill knives. They just tend to be a little, how do I put this, a little more interesting to sharpen because of their unique shape. And in that case, and something that I don't have and still have yet to get, you'll want a nice, good sharpening rod. So I will be in the market to getting a new rod specifically for sharpening my hawkbills or even recurves, and making that a lot easier. But otherwise, that was pretty sharp. I'm pretty impressed. It's a little harder to show on this because of that blade profile, because I feel like I'm working against it. But that is cutting pretty smooth. And like I said, it's more useful for draw cuts, like opening packages and such. So it's a little harder to demonstrate for me. I don't want to cut into my beautiful knife pad, but it feels pretty effortless. There we go. All right, I'm making a mess. So that does feel pretty sharp. Overall, like I said, I'm pretty impressed. So good thing I remembered to try that cutting test. Again, my first impressions on this, that's a lot more knife, and it's a lot bigger knife than it looks. It's a lot more knife than it looks. I really like it. I like a lot of things about it. That lock, the nestled lock, the blade profile, the jimping, the feel is really good. The more I hold on to this, the more I'm loving the feel of this knife. I am impressed. I'm going to have to take another closer look at Best Tech, and I can't wait to see more. But thanks again for joining me. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you liked what you saw, please drop a like down below. And if you haven't yet, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, and it'll be sure to notify you as soon as I drop the next video. If you're interested on this, I don't know if they have this available on Amazon, but they are available on the Best Tech website. I did not see them on Amazon. They might also be available at other online knife retailers like Knife Center or Blade HQ. I haven't checked those yet, but you might want to check there as well. Anyway, if you want to check it out, I will put a link to this knife from the Best Tech website down below, and you can check it out there. But thanks again, and hope to see you in the next video. Bye-bye.